It is now more than 6 months since the coronavirus pandemic began in our country. And this is a pandemic of global nature. Almost every part of the world is affected by it. Businesses, large or small, are under a lot of stress, and their business operations are facing tremendous stress. In particular, for the medical industry, one operation which is very critical from a regulatory compliance point of view is adverse event reporting, or MDR reporting. And even under normal circumstances, this is a challenging task. During a pandemic like the coronavirus pandemic, it has become even more difficult for companies to continue to comply with these requirements. Hello and welcome. I'm Naveen Agarwal, and I have made this video for subscribers like you to give you some information, some updates from the FDA that can help you. FDA has come out with an updated guidance on post-marketing adverse events reporting during a pandemic that I feel can help you. Now, as I said before, MDR reporting is a very challenging task even under normal circumstances. In fact, MDR late reporting or not reporting MDR is among the top categories for warning letters. And as a result, companies spend a lot of resources and time making sure that they continue to comply with these regulatory requirements. So this guidance, I believe, can help you prioritize and give you some flexibility. So that is why I have made this video to bring you this latest information. So let's get into this. So FDA has updated this guidance. It's called Post-Marketing Adverse Event Reporting for Medical Products and Dietary Supplements During a Pandemic. And you can go to this website on FDA's webpage and download this particular guidance. The key change here is that now it's applicable to any pandemic, not just influenza. Because with coronavirus, we have realized that it's not influenza, it's something different. So now it applies to any pandemic. Okay, as I mentioned before, there are many challenges during a pandemic. And most importantly, you might be facing high absenteeism or employees working remotely. This is not uncommon because there is so much virus going on. We have remote working instructions in most organizations right now. And even if you have some people on site, you will be severely understaffed. The second problem you might be facing is actually an increased volume of adverse events and complaints. This is a public health crisis of a great magnitude. Hundreds of thousands of people have already died. Millions have been infected. And if your products are involved, I'm sure you're probably getting a very high volume already on top of short staffing. So this particular flexibility from the FDA in their enforcement can help you. Most importantly, what you need to have is a continuity of operations plan. Planning matters. Some people call it business continuity plan. So let's look into this. Among other things, it should focus on MDR reporting activities, US-based versus overseas sites, resource allocation at every site, but most importantly, instructions for maintaining documentation. Prove that you have high absenteeism. Prove that your resources are under a lot of stress. And then lay out a plan on how you're gonna continue to report MDRs in an appropriate manner through good level of prioritization. At the bottom of this screen, you have a website link that I'm providing to you that you can go and check out for more resources. All right, so there is some flexibility, as I said before. However, if you can continue to maintain your operation at the level that is appropriate for you, you must report as usual within the expected time frame. And in any case, you must report adverse events for products which are of special interest, special concern from the FDA's point of view. And they might be very relevant for the specific pandemic. In this particular case, examples could be PPE. It could be diagnostic devices that are used to detect or diagnose COVID-19, ventilators. And at the end of this presentation, I'll give you a summary of those product codes that are under emergency use authorization, which there is no flexibility. You have to continue to report. However, if you cannot, you can hold certain kind of adverse events for up to 60 days after your process returns to pre-pandemic capacity level. Now, notice they are not saying that you can wait until the pandemic is officially declared over. They are saying when your operations return to pre-pandemic stage, you have 60 days after that. So it should be clearly spelled out in your plans, in your documentation, and you must keep records. All right. So let's see what is some of the specific guidance and flexibility. Let's look into manufacturers. And this is as far as reports to FDA are concerned. So 21 CFR 80353, these are event types where immediate remedial action is required when there is a high risk of public health harm. So if your device is involved or could potentially cause serious harm immediately and remedial action is required, these are the 5 work days requirement for reporting. The guidance is you must continue to submit that. However, for other types of death, serious injury or malfunctions, the 30-day reporting, you have some flexibility. If it involves a patient death, you must report. If it is a non-serious injury, non-fatal serious injury, or a malfunction, you can hold, you can store those particular MDRs. Okay, how about importers? And this is reporting to manufacturers and or FDA. 21 CFR 80340 pertains to death or serious injury and 30 calendar day requirement per current regulations. You must submit if there is a patient death, or you can store if it's a non-fatal serious injury. User facilities like hospitals and outpatient clinics, 21 CFR 80330, death or serious injury 10 working days, and again, you must submit if it is a patient death, and you can store if a non-fatal serious injury is reported. So there is, based on risk, there is certain level of flexibility. Now notice, they are not saying anything about investigations or follow-up or gathering more information. It's only as far as reporting is concerned. So the expectation is you must continue to investigate complaints and adverse events per other regulatory requirements. However, again, in your continuity of operation plan or business continuity plan, you can define the level of effort and the timeliness requirements, and maybe you can implement your internal rules, but you must continue to show progress as far as investigations are concerned. Now, let's look into some of the product codes which are under an emergency use authorization during the current crisis, which you must continue to report if your products are involved. Face masks under product code QKR, respirators, NZJ is NIOSH certified respirators, QKU are non-NIOSH certified respirators, and MSH are surgical respirators. Now these are decontamination systems, QKY, for respirators, which have been authorized for emergency use. How about diagnostics? So QJR are molecular diagnostics, and QKO, QKP are serology and antigen diagnostics respectively. QLD are protective enclosures. So this is a pretty good list of the key products which are under EUA right now. And if your product is involved, you must continue to report the MDRs at the expected level required in your EUA. Okay, so in summary, you have some flexibility. You must continue to submit if the MDRs relate to a patient death. Otherwise, if it's a non-fatal injury or a malfunction, then you can store. You can store up to 60 days after your operations return to the pre-pandemic stage. Not until the pandemic has been declared over, but when your internal operations reach a pre-pandemic stage. So the expectation FDA has is you will do whatever you can to continue to report MDRs in a timely way per current regulations, but you have some flexibility in the interim. Important to have documentation, have a business continuity plan that defines these particular scenarios, roles and responsibilities, what internal flexibility you are going to have consistent with these enforcement discretions. Finally, I cannot emphasize enough to keep all documentation in place. So these are extreme circumstances. FDA is very mindful of this, and I think they are taking a risk-based approach to allow flexibility in how they're going to enforce the regulatory compliance, regulatory requirements. So it's good to take advantage of that. I hope this information is useful. My intent in making these in-depth videos is to help subscribers like you to not only stay informed, but be able to take timely and effective action. So let me know what you think. What's on your mind? Are there topics that you are interested in that you would want me to pick up? You can write to me. You can follow me on LinkedIn, send me a comment, a note. Check out my website, www.exceedqm.com, for more detailed information and articles. And finally, if you like this, please tell your colleagues who you think might benefit for these types of videos. I make a lot of videos for common public as well. But if you need more insightful information and in-depth analysis based on my years of experience, I strongly encourage you and your colleagues to subscribe. And again, you can go to my website and very easily find the form that you can quickly send to me and subscribe so you can start receiving these bi-weekly videos. So I want to thank you for your interest and attention, for your support and encouragement. That's why I do this. I hope all of you are staying safe, and I look forward to hearing from you.